Hey everyone, welcome into another episode of No Holds Barred here at the Toronto Sun. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Postmedia wrestling writer Jan Murphy. Our guest today has been quite busy of late, out on her book tour for her best-selling memoir, The Last Hart Beating, which has recently been named one of the best sports books of 2025 by Barnes and Noble. Great to catch up with our friend WWE Superstar Nattie Neidhart. Nattie, thanks for joining us. Lots to chat with you about today, but wanted to start with the book tour. I got a chance to see you when you were here in Toronto. It was such a great
Yes.
turnout, and it's been awesome to see the success you've had with it. Now that you've had some time to reflect on it, what was your experience like with those 13 cities?
You know what I'm so excited about though, above and beyond? Like the book tour was amazing, and I love being able to meet people and sign for people and talk to people and share their stories and share. People are just sharing so much. They're opening up so much about like how the book was so relatable to them, and so that's the biggest thing. Is that before, and I did put Stephanie McMahon's podcast, and we were talking about the book, and like prior to the book coming out, I was really scared of like, I don't know, I just think I was scared people wouldn't like it, or I was scared people wouldn't understand it, or I was scared that certain things that I wrote about would become like big scandalous headlines that people would be like, Natalia says that, and it would become like really like where it became like dirt sheet clickbait negative shit rather than just like, hey, this is really a special part of my story that I felt the strong need to share. So I was just, I don't know, I guess the people pleaser in me, I was worried about the book not being received well. And I have not met anyone or seen really anything online where people haven't really loved the book. It makes me feel so good because people are really liking the story. And so many people are saying like, I see myself in this book. Like they're understanding it. Like whether, because I wanted people to really like it, even if they didn't know anything about wrestling, I wanted them to like it. I work out at this place called Orange Theory. They're all over the world. They're like group fitness classes. My mom and my sister and I work out there, and I gave a copy of my book to everybody that worked there. And the lady at the front desk, she's an older woman, never watched wrestling in her life. She doesn't know who I am, doesn't know my family, doesn't know any of it. I really I wanted her to like I was curious if she was going to read the book. The next day after I gave it to her, she's like, Nattie, she pulled me aside after class and she's like, oh my God, like I love the book. And then she starts talking to me in detail about certain chapters. And she's like, my brother was an addict and we went through so much with him and I was so angry at him. And she's like, when I got to the end of your book, I really felt like I needed to reach out to my brother. She's like, I felt a sense of healing in it. And I loved when she shared that story with me because she was just basically saying like, there's a big theme in the book that you can love someone and they can hurt you, but you can still love them and you can still acknowledge that they hurt you. And so that was it really like embodied my relationship with my dad. But she said that, she had this relationship with her brother, and it's, she felt very healed after reading it. So I just love the way that people are receiving it, and I'm so happy that people like it and that they didn't, you know, hate it. They didn't shit all over it. They didn't say it was awful. They didn't make it a scandalous thing. Like, because there's a lot that I poured even my own family members, like they're surprised that I poured my soul out and bared my soul the way that I did. So thank you, Rob and Jan, for being so supportive of the book. I really appreciate it.
I really feel like, as somebody who knows you as well as I do over the years, you're very, very careful is not the word. It's the only word I can come up with right now because my head is clogged up today. But you've always been very sort of cautious when it comes to what you say and what you put out there. You'll put it out there, but you put it out there in such a way that I think it's more thoughtful and it's maybe more politically correct
Correct. Yeah.
than kind of you don't want to burn bridges, right? I mean, and I think you did a good job here. Like I said, I've been watching reviews and comments that people are making on your socials, and yeah, they're very 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 positive. So I think that's a testament to what you've always done as a human being, not as a character, but that's the type
Thank
of
you.
person that you are.
Well, and I actually, working in WWE for almost 2 decades, January will be 19 years. I've always prided myself on being politically correct, and being a company girl. And, I wanted to always say the right things and do the right things and please everyone and make everyone happy. But you know, the best advice I received in writing the book was from Bret Hart. He said, "Don't," because I had asked him for some advice about a chapter. I was struggling with a chapter about TJ's injury, and I told him I was feeling extreme anxiety over it, and he was like, "Nattie," he's like, "don't write it for TJ. Don't write it for your mom. Don't write it for your dad. Don't write it for WWE. Don't write it for anyone but you." He's like, "just do it for you. Do the book for you. Do put yourself first with the book." And it really gave me Brett allowed me to give myself permission to just feel however it was that I wanted to feel. And he really validated those feelings. He's like, it's what you felt, so that's what you felt. And it's your story. So don't don't be anything but yourself with this, because once you put it on paper, it's out there for the world. So that was really the best advice I could have received.
Yeah, well, look, it was such a great read. I know I really enjoyed it, and
Thank you.
can relate to
Yeah.
it like a lot of other people
Thank you
have,
guys.
like you mentioned. Look, the big news this week, of course, everybody's still talking about it. John Cena's final match in Washington over the weekend. You were there. Some great pictures on your Instagram behind the scenes with all the other people that were there watching it. What was just the whole experience like? I imagine it was a bit surreal and obviously a little bit sad with the way things finally come to an end for John Cena as far as his wrestling career goes. But what will you remember about that night?
I was so like I felt every emotion. I flew to Washington D.C. I was not gonna miss John Cena's last match for anything. John's a good close personal friend of mine, and I think the world of him. And TJ and I have so much respect for him. But I felt every emotion watching it. And here's the thing. I think it's really important to validate feelings, and I believe, like, people online are upset. People feel angry. I mean, a lot of people are just sad and hurt and pissed that he's retiring, because nobody really, like, yeah, we knew we weren't going to get John Cena wrestling forever, but like we were like, damn, you gave us so many this last year. He gave us his best, like some of his best work.
Yeah.
I loved his match with AJ Styles. Like I John's just been doing some of his best work. So people, like, I felt, I was like, John, like, I don't want you to go. Like, you can still do it. Like, and what I really love about John's ending is that he left on his terms. Um, I talk about this in my book about beating the house. Like, very, very, very few professional athletes get to beat the house. That very few get to leave on their own terms. Very few, most people leave because they're forced into it. They're forced into retirement. They have to go. They can't. John did what Jerry Seinfeld did. Jerry Seinfeld stopped doing his own show when he was like the number one show on television. And I remember when I was a kid, because I used to love Seinfeld. It was my mom and my sisters and I would always watch it together. It was like something we did together. And we loved that show. And I was devastated when Seinfeld went off the air. And I was like, but they were the number one show on TV at the time. And Jerry Seinfeld said, "Yeah, we want to leave on top. We don't want to leave when the ratings tank. We don't want to leave." And so you see with John, he did it on his own terms. But people are just feeling how they're feeling everything. I don't think people are happy, because at the end of the day, nobody really wanted to see John leave, and they didn't like the way he left. We all wanted to see him win, but I do think John is a company guy. I do think he would have gone into war over that ending, because I think the way that John is, just knowing the person that he is he just wants to keep paying it forward. He wants to make sure that he leaves the business better than when he came in. So on Monday Night Raw, I don't know if you guys saw the tweet that Diddy put out, or sorry, the tweet that 50 Cent put out, not Diddy, Diddy's mortal enemy, but 50 Cent put out a tweet because 50 Cent was pissed, because his documentary on Diddy is now like number 2 on Netflix, because Raw was number 1. So I told TJ, I was like, yeah, everybody's so pissed that they tuned into Raw, like, because they wanted to see what the hell was going to happen. Like, people are pissed at Gunther. Now Gunther is the biggest asshole in wrestling, so like people want to see him get his ass beat. I saw a little kid, like I was watching the match from Gorilla and I saw kids and people crying and the cameras were zooming in on kids like yelling at Gunther. And like now I want to see who's going to be made once they beat Gunther. You know what I mean? And so I think that was probably John Cena's mindset to it. But I was backstage watching John Cena like put where he looked like he wasn't going to tap out and he had his hand up and he's like, nope, I'm not going to do it. And I jumped up and I was like, no, don't quit. Don't give up. Like I was watching it like as a fan because I was like, he can't give up. He can't give up. And I'm like, Nattie, this is not real. Like you're freaking out over John Cena's last match and I'm jumping up. I'm punching TJ in the stomach. I'm like, he's going to give up. And that's what I love about all of this. It's making us feel something and everybody's feelings are totally valid. So that's my 2 cents on it.
There was no conclusion to that match that could have satisfied the internet world. It wouldn't have mattered if he'd have went out as champion, if he'd have you know come back and beaten Stone Cold. It wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have appeased the internet fans, right? I mean, it was always going to end that way. He was always going to put somebody over on his way out the door. That's who he is.
Exactly. And also, here's the other thing: if he won, I do agree with Miz on this because I saw Miz do like a post show for WWE. If Cena won, everybody would have been like, it's time to put over some new talent. It's easy, the guys, like, people would have been pissed about that. So the main thing is that everybody's talking, everybody's feeling something, and everybody's tuning in to see what's going to happen next. And I just love John, and I just want to, like, I told John, I was like, I don't know why, but like, I felt like he was like dying. And he's like, Nattie, I'm not dying. I'm just not wrestling anymore. And I go, I know, but I just don't want you to go. I want you to be here forever. And he's like, I will be, but just not in the ring. So that
Yeah.
made me feel better. That made my heart feel better.
Yeah, what a career. I mean, you can't really say enough about what he did
No,
in the ring, out the ring. I mean, you've had so many stories that you've been able to tell us about John that, yeah, he will be missed as far as his WWE in-ring career goes. As far as your career, Nattie, you're busy this weekend, of course, coming up. You'll be wrestling in AAA with Lola Vice and Fabi Apache taking on Los Toxicos. My Spanish isn't great, but I gave it a shot there. Guerra de Titanes, I believe that's what the event is called. I had to look it up to get the correct English pronunciation. I believe it's War of the Titans, if that's easier for people that don't know Spanish. But this all kind of builds into the Nattie character, which you've been talking to us a lot about this year. A lot of people have been pushing forward, and we've seen some snippets over the last couple of weeks in WWE with you and Maxine Dupree. I'm not sure how much you can tell us, but what should the expectation be as far as the Nattie character goes heading into 2026?
Somebody's
Well,
old.
I'm so excited. I mean, she is the low-key legend, and she's doing it her way this time. And it really everything I've ever worked for in professional wrestling has come down to this character. And I knew, I said this I was talking to somebody about this and I said, "Oh, I was talking to Bailey's girls at Bailey's seminar." We were doing a seminar and there was a Q&A with me and with Rhea and Bianca, and the girls were all asking us questions. And somehow we got to talking and I said, sometimes you have to look at yourself in the mirror and you have to ask yourself, like, what do I need to do to keep moving forward? And you have to confront hard questions and hard answers. And so for me, I knew that the Natalia character for for me, I just knew that the Natalia character wasn't working for me anymore. And so that's when I really took a risk. And like I didn't even know what the result was going to be, but I knew I wasn't going to let this new character fail. And I just took a risk without knowing exactly what the end result was going to be, but I wanted to take a chance and pour my soul into something that nobody had ever seen before. And that's why, like this year has been so critical for me and why I'm so excited for AAA on Saturday, because the show is totally sold out. And, Undertaker, he's, really spearheading the show with Jeremy Borash and with their team there. I mean, it's being run. Of course, WWE is now, working with AAA to help them bring their shows to life. But Undertaker's been a huge supporter of mine. And it's so cool because when I first debuted in WWE, I was Natalia. And especially when I was first debuting, I was still figuring it out. I was still trying to like make everybody happy and make sure I didn't piss anyone off. And I remember being that scared newbie. Now I get to work with Undertaker, and the reason why I bring him up is because he's working with AAA, but he's been such a huge proponent of me thriving in this natty role. He's given me so much advice. He pulls me aside before matches, after matches. He talks to me about like he's giving me real-time advice on how to make the character better, how to make the entrance better. He's been helping me with the entrance. He's been helping me with like the little nuances of the natty character. And this, I mean, this is coming from Taker, who is really, character-wise, he's one of the greatest characters that ever was in WWE. And so I love being able to work closely with him because I really want, before Natty makes her way to the main roster, and we saw some little teasers, we saw those vignettes, but I want to fine-tune everything so that I'm really just firing on all cylinders. And I feel like you're going to see you're going to get a really big dose of Natty at AAA on Saturday.
It's incredible because at one point not that long ago you were at home, renegotiating a deal with WWE, writing a book, and reinventing what you wanted to do with your career. And I really hope we get to see what you've been doing on the the WWE stage, because few people are able to sort of will their way to the top, but it feels like finally you are, and that's a testament to what you've been working on over the last year.
Thank you so much, Dan. Yeah, no, it's just I won't let her fail. I won't let her fail. I think about this character. I think about her all the time. I think about who wants, who I want to wrestle against, who I want to do storylines against. I think about her move set. I think about her energy. I think about her costumes. I think about her music. I think about her entrance. I think about beating the out of whomever I'm in there with, like Flammer, the AAA Women's Champion Flammer. I'm like, I can't wait to listen. You better put your hands up because these are going to be live rounds coming at you, and everything. And I said this at my dungeon yesterday, and we will wrap up. At my dungeon yesterday, we had an incredible group of people. We trained for over 4 hours, and I said, everything you've ever gone through, especially all the bad shit, I want you to channel it into your performance. I want you to bring it onto the mat. I want you to take it out on your opponent. I want you to bring that energy, and those emotions, and let that drive you. Take all the hard shit that you've gone through and use it. Use it to drive your performances. And everybody had goosebumps. So everything I've gone through, I'm going to be taking it out on what is it, Los Toxicos? They better watch themselves because I'm coming in hot.
Yeah, look, we can't wait. It's been such a fun ride that you've been on here, and we can't wait to see where it goes in 2026. Nattie, you've been gracious with your time with us all year round. It's been so fun chatting with you, and we can't wait to catch up with you in 2026.